Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about universal access to higher education, free college, and barriers, and the opposition to people being able to go to college if they choose, and where that opposition sometimes comes from. We're going to do this because in a recent video, I talked about how I was very much in favor of the idea of universal higher education. I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for individuals. It's a good thing for society as a whole. And there's that pushback. Generally, the pushback was centered around the idea that if degrees were free, well, then they would be worth less. Chose one of a couple messages that had this tone to read, "Universal free education only screws people who can afford one now. If everybody can get a degree for free, they're worth less. That's the part you don't understand. Learn to economics." Okay. I know that attitude for a lot of people watching this channel is going to be very strange. So let me break down that position first so people understand where they're coming from with this. For most people who watch this channel, you view a degree as a symbol of education, right? This means that you got education in this topic. For people who have this position, it's a membership card. It has nothing to do with that. It's credentialing. It's a club pass. It gets you into the club where the higher paying jobs are, and that's it. It has that value. And they're not entirely wrong about that. That degree does open doors to higher paying jobs. Over the course of your life, the median income for somebody who went to high school is $1.6 million. For somebody who went to college is $1.9. Bachelor's degree, $2.8. Master's, $3.2. Doctoral, $4. So the position that a degree opens doors and gets you into higher paying jobs, that's generally true. Now understand, this is a median. There are exceptions to this. But overall, it's true. So when you look at it like that, what are these messages saying? Short and sweet, they want to keep that class barrier up. See, those people who can afford, and by this I mean those people who have parents who can afford to send them to college without saddling them with a bunch of debt and stuff like that, they get to stay in that upper class club. They know they're going to get one of those jobs. They've got the degree, they have the credentials, and they're good to go. They have the connections. What they don't want is to have to compete against people outside of that class. And see, when you're talking about those on the lower rungs of the socioeconomic ladder, the way that they can get to university is through a scholarship or through taking on a bunch of debt. If you take on a bunch of debt, though, even once you get into that upper class club, well, you're paying that debt back. So you may not have the opportunity to make the moves necessary to keep you in that upper class club, right? That's just a lottery for the commoners. Maybe somebody will get a little bit of social mobility out of it. The goal of this is to make sure that education is expensive, so the commoners stay where they're supposed to be, down on the bottom. That's the goal. And if education was free, if people could access higher education just based on merit, right? Just on their ability to invest the time and get the grades, well, that means that the mediocre upper class kid, he has to compete against the really bright poor kid. And that's somebody he doesn't have to compete against right now. And that's scary because it undermines that class system. That class divide shrinks when that occurs. Okay, so at this point, to the person who sent this message, I hope it's clear that It's not that I don't understand that this is what's going to happen. It's that I'm counting on it. I'm not a person who thinks that upholding unjust, unnecessary hierarchies is a good thing. For those people who always like to talk about merit and pretend to be self-made, everybody's getting awfully scared of a little bit of competition all of a sudden. Don't worry. Your parents' connections through their friends and all of that stuff, and the fact that the poor kid who makes it into your circle may not know all the proper etiquette and those rules and know how to frame the thank you notes and all of that. Don't worry. That'll still keep your position secure. I think this gets to a crux of an issue that exists in the United States, where we pretend these class barriers don't exist. We pretend it's all about merit. It's not. Because anytime somebody tries to remove one of these class barriers, people freak out. And they talk about how, well, it'll just be so upsetting to the system. Yeah, that's the point. The system's broke, in case you haven't figured it out. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.